The personal behavior that's encouraged by the recognition of climate change, behavior such as switching off lights, although I think we don't need to have turned off all the lights in this auditorium because I can't see any of you. Anyway, switching off lights, turning down the heating, cycling or walking instead of driving, holidaying nearer to home or buying local food, shopping less and talking more with each other, addressing the causes of fuel poverty locally and internationally. These are good because they are intrinsically right, not just because they have the consequence of reducing carbon emissions. As Northcott observes, such actions correct our modern, thoughtless ways of living. They reflect the moral claim that it's wrong to live in a civilization that depends upon the systematic exploitation of peoples and ecosystems to serve the demands of a corporately governed consumer economy. So let me draw the threads of my argument together. Climate change raises questions about human life and destiny, about our relationship to the planet and to each other, about selfishness and the common good, about the dangers of a technological mindset in our attitude to the world. And deepest of all, it raises questions about our values, our hopes and our goals, individually and collectively, and about our obligations to the present and the future. These are all moral and spiritual questions. Maurice Strong, the organizer of the 1992 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, has said, "We cannot expect to make the fundamental changes needed in our economic life unless they are based on the highest and best of our moral, spiritual, and ethical traditions, a reverence for life, a respect for each other, and a commitment to responsible stewardship of the earth. The transition to a sustainable society must be undergirded by a moral, ethical, and spiritual revolution which places these values at the center of our individual and social lives." End of quote. But this is easier said than done. The Stern Review, which Professor Mutter mentioned, the most comprehensive economic review that was given to the British government in October 2006. In that report, climate change was represented as, I quote, "the most colossal instance of market failure," unquote, that we have experienced. Now, this language betrays the impoverishment of our economics. If we can only think of climate change as a massive example of market failure, an economist's predilection when faced with a market failure due to the absence of property rights is to seek a means to create such property rights, leaving the newly established market to sort out the problem. And this is what has been happening since Kyoto, with carbon emissions being commodified and traded in a newly created global carbon market. But if exchange values are the only values in town, and a market mentality is allowed to encroach on every area of human life, then are we not handing over the treatment of the patient to the very people who poisoned her in the first place? Consumerism is a dominant ideology today, globally, but supremely embodied in the USA. The buy now, pay later mentality, fostered by the advertising industry, the banks, even the educational system, is so pervasive. What would it take to reverse it? Even religion has been largely reshaped by this consumerist mindset. Debt slavery is promoted as consumer freedom, and self-interest as rationality. So from where are we going to learn a different understanding of what it means to be human? Furthermore, concepts such as responsibility, accountability, and stewardship are being frequently used today. Now, they have a natural home, I suggest, within a theistic or theocentric worldview, But within an anthropocentric or even ecocentric worldview, why should we care for human beings who are yet unborn? What is it that endows them with rights, or us with responsibilities towards them? After all, if nature is all that is, and human beings as significant as slime molds where nature is concerned, why care about what happens to future humans? If Homo sapiens ends up destroying itself, the Earth will simply throw up new life forms that can survive at higher temperatures. In other words, the question I'm posing is whether either so-called deep ecology or the militant atheism that insists on telling us that evolution is the only story and evolution is a godless process, that is all there is to the world, can such worldviews coherently sustain our moral intuitions in the face of the challenge of global warming and climate change?
For more information about the Veritas Forum, including additional recordings and a calendar of upcoming events, please visit our website at veritas.org.